My name is Kevin, and what I'm about to tell you still sends chills down my spine every time Easter comes around. This happened 10 years ago, when I was 13. Our small town had a sweet little tradition, a modest Easter parade. It wasn't anything grand, just a few decorated vehicles, the local marching band, and an Easter bunny tossing candy to kids. But to us, it was special. That year, things were different. Our town had just elected a new mayor who promised to bring new life to our old traditions. Weeks before Easter, posters went up everywhere. This Easter bunny is coming like you've never seen before. Everyone was curious. I was excited too, but looking back, I wish I had stayed home that day. On Easter morning, my best friend Leo and I hopped on our bikes early and rode to our usual spot, at the corner of Main and Birch Street. The town square was more crowded than usual. Families were packed shoulder to shoulder, everyone buzzing with anticipation. Leo nudged me with his elbow and pointed at a new float approaching. It was bigger than anything we had seen before, decorated in bright pastel colors with giant plastic eggs. In the center sat a massive Easter bunny, but it wasn't cute or fun. It was disturbingly creepy. Its eyes were enormous, pitch black, and expressionless, its mouth frozen in a wide, artificial grin. Leo let out a nervous laugh.
They kinda overdid it, huh?
As the float passed right in front of us, the bunny slowly turned its head toward us. I remember clearly. It felt like it was looking straight at me. My stomach twisted, but I convinced myself I was being paranoid. The parade ended without any incidents. The crowd quickly dispersed as everyone headed to the park for the Easter egg hunt. Leo and I stayed on Main Street a bit longer, talking about how weird that float was. Then Leo got a message. His mom was waiting in the car.
See you later,
Leo said and rode off. I decided to walk my bike home. It wasn't far. Main Street emptied fast, and within minutes everything felt eerily quiet. As I turned the corner onto my street, I heard footsteps behind me. I looked back and my heart skipped a beat. A person dressed in a filthy Easter bunny costume was walking behind me. It looked almost exactly like the one from the parade, but dirtier and more worn. At first, I thought someone from the parade was trying to scare me, so I brushed it off and walked faster. But the footsteps quickened too. Then, in a soft, sing-song voice, the bunny called out,
Kevin, I've got something for you.
How did he know my name? I wondered if it was someone I knew, but I didn't look back. I dropped my bike right there and ran. Behind me, I could hear him laughing, a high-pitched, wheezy laugh, as he chased me. In a panic, I cut through Mrs. Doyle's backyard, jumped fences, and kept running until I was sure I'd lost him. When I got home, I burst through the door, out of breath. My parents weren't home yet. I locked every door and window and stood shaking. I peeked through the curtains. The street was empty. Maybe it was a cruel prank, someone trying to scare me. Later that evening, my parents came home. I told them everything, but they said it was probably my imagination. The police said the same. It was creepy, but just a sick joke. 2 nights later, I woke up to tapping on my window. My heart was pounding. I slowly pulled the curtain back. Under the dim streetlight, the same Easter bunny was standing there, dirty, leaves stuck to his fur, head tilted, silently watching. Then he raised a filthy paw and slowly waved. It was deliberate, silent. For a week, he came back every night. Always outside, always watching. He'd wave or point toward the woods behind our house. No one believed me. Every time the police came, he was gone. Eventually, they stopped coming. On the 8th night, I'd had enough. Hands trembling, I grabbed a baseball bat from the garage and stepped into the cold, dark yard. The bunny stood at the edge, motionless.
What do you want from me?
I shouted, my voice cracking. He didn't reply. He just turned around and walked into the woods. I don't know why, but I followed him, bat in hand, scared out of my mind. Deep in the woods, I found something horrifying. Dozens of Easter bunny costumes were hanging from tree branches, dirty, torn, swaying like grotesque scarecrows. Behind me, a voice whispered, high-pitched and raspy, "You're the chosen one now. Wear it." I spun around, swinging the bat, but no one was there. I ran home in terror and locked myself in. Years passed. I never saw that bunny again. But recently, I found out the dark truth behind that Easter. Our small town had secrets, stories of missing children hidden behind cheerful celebrations. Every year, a chosen child was marked to carry the burden of that twisted tradition. My parents still say it's all nonsense, but I never forgot. Ever since that day, I lock my doors, close my windows, and keep the curtains drawn every Easter. And still, some nights, I swear I hear faint tapping on the glass. That wheezing laugh echoing from far away, and deep down I wonder, how much longer can I outrun whatever chose me that day? Nothing has been the same since what happened last year on the eve of Easter. My mom and dad had left town to attend a distant relative's wedding. Normally, I enjoyed being alone, but that day I felt uneasy deep inside. I had a school project due, so staying home made more sense. That evening, I finished my work and lay in bed. While scrolling through my phone, I heard a strange noise coming from the front door. At first, I ignored it, thinking it was kids playing a prank for Easter candy. But the sound kept growing louder, like someone slowly scratching at the door with their fingernails. A terrible feeling settled over me. Holding my breath, I quietly approached the door and peeked through the peephole. A man was standing on the dimly lit porch. He was wearing a dirty, old and tattered rabbit costume. Behind the mask, his eyes were fixed directly on the peephole. His gaze was chilling, as if he knew I was watching. My heart pounding, I stumbled backward in panic. The man outside didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there. I was about to call the police when he slowly walked toward the window next to the door and began tapping on the glass. The sound grew louder, deep and rhythmic. Then his muffled voice came through. He was muttering something incoherent. And just then, inside the house, I heard another sound. From the kitchen. A clear scraping of a chair. There was no one else supposed to be inside. Frozen in fear, I listened as the kitchen drawer opened, followed by the crash of a glass plate shattering on the floor. In that moment, it became terrifyingly clear I wasn't alone. And the danger wasn't just outside, it was already in the house. Tears welled in my eyes, but I couldn't move. The dragging footsteps from the kitchen were heading toward the hallway. Each step echoed like a death sentence. Mind racing, I grabbed my phone and sprinted upstairs to my room. I locked the door behind me, shaking. Barely able to speak, I called the police.
"There's someone in my house. Please hurry."
Every second until they arrived felt like an eternity. The noises from downstairs had stopped, but then the scratching at the front door started again. One attacker outside, one inside. My heart felt like it would explode when I finally heard sirens in the distance. Officers stormed in and searched the entire house but found no one. The only evidence was a trail of muddy footprints on the porch and unfamiliar boot prints on the kitchen floor. There had been someone else, but when the police checked neighborhood cameras, they didn't find a single suspicious person. The next morning, my parents came rushing home. My mom cried nonstop. My dad was angry and helpless. We installed a full security system, changed all the locks, but I couldn't shake the fear. That night replayed in my mind over and over again. At school the next day, I found out I wasn't the only one. My friend Jack said he'd seen someone outside his bedroom window the same night. His description matched mine exactly. tall, thin, and in a rabbit costume. Over the following days, strange incidents spread throughout the neighborhood. Silent phone calls from blocked numbers, rotten eggs left on porches, threatening notes written in what looked like blood. Panic grew, but still, the police found nothing. Eventually, my family couldn't take it anymore. We moved to a different city. At first, I thought I was safe, but even in our new home, things didn't stop. At first, I thought I was just paranoid, but then, one day after school, I found a small box in our mailbox with my name on it. Inside was an old photo. I turned it over, and my hand started to shake. The photo wasn't from our old home. It was taken in the backyard of our new house. And in the background, a blurry figure stood watching, dressed in the same rabbit costume. When my mom saw the photo, she trembled. My dad went straight to the police, but again, they found nothing. The person who left the box wasn't caught on any camera. No fingerprints, nothing. It was like a ghost the police couldn't touch. Now, I lock myself in my room every night. Every sound makes me jump. But one night, as I was working on my computer, the monitor suddenly went black. Moments later, a live camera feed appeared. It showed the outside of our front door, and there he was again, the man in the rabbit costume. The ears were crooked, dirty. He stared directly into the camera, as if he knew I was watching. Then my phone buzzed with a text message. Unknown number, just one sentence. "There's nowhere left to run." At that exact moment, I heard the front door creak open. Footsteps began climbing the stairs, slowly and heavily. Heart pounding in my throat, I grabbed my phone and hid in the only place I could, inside the wardrobe. Holding my breath, I heard the footsteps enter the room. The closet door creaked open just slightly, and that's when I heard police sirens. The man didn't say a word. He backed away slowly and slipped out into the night. When the police pulled me out of that closet, I knew something had changed forever. I was no longer just scared. I was being hunted by something that wouldn't stop. Even now, in a new city, with new locks and alarms, I never feel safe, because I know he's still out there. And one day, he's coming back. My name is Luke. Before I tell you this story, I need to make a few things clear. First, I'm a teacher. Second, I love children. And third, telling this story still fills me with shame because I should have seen it coming. Last year, I was put in charge of organizing the traditional Easter events at the school where I work. It's a private elementary school, and I teach at the primary level. That week, I was buried in pastel decorations, cardboard cutouts, and bins full of plastic eggs. The administration was fully supportive, especially since the parents cared a lot about these events. The main event was scheduled for Friday morning. Preschool and elementary students were going to participate in an Easter egg hunt in the school's backyard, assisted by teachers and volunteer parents. That day, things started happening that I still can't fully explain. About an hour before the event started, I was doing final checks in the backyard. The plastic eggs were all in place, the prizes were ready. But something caught my eye. Between the blades of grass, I saw an egg that didn't look like the others. It wasn't colorful. It was a pale white. And on it, there was a strange mark, like a red scratch. I didn't know who had placed it there, but I was pressed for time. So I picked it up and threw it away. At exactly 10 a.m., the event began. The kids ran off with their baskets, shouting and laughing with joy. I stood off to the side with the other teachers watching. That's when I noticed Bella, a 6-year-old student of mine, wandering toward the far corner of the yard, near the fence where no other kids had gone. I wanted to call out to her, but at that moment another student tugged on my sleeve, excited to show me the prize they'd found. I looked away for just a few seconds. When I turned back, Bella was gone. I rushed toward that corner. No one was there, but the small gate leading to the old storage shed behind the fence was wide open. That gate was always locked. My heart started racing. I stepped through the gate and walked up to the shed. Inside, I heard a faint sound. Something metallic falling to the ground. "Bella?" I called out. No response. I stepped inside. The shed was dark, but a thin beam of sunlight spilled through the open door. Behind one of the shelves, I saw a shadow. I thought it was Bella. I moved closer, but it wasn't her. Someone was sitting behind the shelf, facing me head down. He was wearing a black hoodie, and I couldn't see his face. He wasn't moving. I froze. Just as I started to step back, the man slowly lifted his head. We locked eyes. He wasn't a child, he was an adult man. His eyes were vacant, emotionless. His hands were folded in his lap, and between his fingers, I saw Bella's hair clip. Something inside me snapped. I bolted. I ran straight to the others and told them what I'd seen. The school administration immediately called the police. The man had vanished before the officers arrived, but he'd left something behind. Dozens of empty white plastic eggs, just like the one I threw away that morning. Inside each one were small personal items belonging to different children. A hair clip, a button, the tip of a pencil, but the most terrifying part? Bella couldn't be found for hours. Police found a small opening in the fence at the edge of the school's property. Footprints led from there into the woods. A search party was launched. Thankfully, Bella was found later that evening in an old ranger cabin deep in the forest. She was in shock but physically unharmed. She didn't remember anything. Not how she got through the fence or why the shed was open. Nothing. The incident never made the news. The school brushed it under the rug. There was a security oversight, but we've taken all necessary precautions, they said. But I know better. That wasn't just bad luck. Someone had placed those eggs intentionally, near the fence, to lure the children in. The police never identified the man. The cameras were no help, because that section of the yard was a blind spot. I haven't had a peaceful night since, because that person is still out there. Maybe in another school, maybe planning another event. And Easter is coming again soon. I won't be attending this year's event. But here's my advice to you. If your child finds an Easter egg, always check what's inside first, because sometimes the prize is a warning. Do you have a real-life horror story to share? Tell us your terrifying experience, and we might bring it to life in our next video. Send your true horror stories to the email in the description, and your story could be featured soon.